Hello, federal viewers. Welcome to this exclusive discussion. The DMK government in Tamil Nadu have released the state policy for transgender persons this Thursday. This move is seen a huge leap towards building an inclusive society. While the trans community, have welcomed this move, there are still certain issues, certain demands which are still unmet. To discuss more on this initiative, its significance, the shortcomings, we have with us global trans activist Kalki Subramaniam. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining with us today.
Thank you, Raghavi, for inviting me for this live discussion because it's such an important issue about a marginalized community that definitely needs an upper hand and also needs to be mainstreamed and be visible and be
Right.
equal. So the
No,
transgender community, of course, we need all rights. So I'm here, very happy that our discussion is going.
beautifully said, ma'am. Tamil Nadu as a state has been, progressive when it comes to, releasing policies, framing beautiful initiatives for transgender community. On this
Yeah.
particular initiative, which particular plan or scheme has stood out for you personally?
I think what stood for me personally is about giving awareness to teachers, education
Right.
institutions. That was a very good initiative, I would say, because most of the gender non-conforming children go through a lot of bullying, discrimination, and stigma at school. This leads our people, especially as teenagers, to drop out of schools, which is a major setback in their life. Once they lose the opportunity to get educated, they lose almost everything. Of course, they lose a life, I would say. The graduate being a graduation is no more. I mean, being a graduate is no more possible. Pursuing your dreams in education is no more possible. So, in that aspect, I think ensuring that all gender non-conforming children uh, are accepted, and there is an enabling environment created through inclusive education through the teachers and the school management sensitizing the staff and everything. I think that is a major step which I welcome. I welcome as one of the major highlights of the policy.
You beautifully mentioned about the education part, the sensitizing, initiative. There are a lot of forward-looking initiatives in this particular plan as well, be it,
Yeah,
property rights for trans persons, or education and also health, particularly
yeah.
exploring HIV prevention, and also banning forced conversion therapy, which is also, very promising. How do you think these promising initiatives will reflect in the day-to-day lives of transgender people? Why is it so important?
I think much of the when I look at the policy page by page and point by point, I understand that already the Transgender Protection Act says uh, whatever the Tamil Nadu government's, whatever Tamil Nadu state transgender policy says, almost like 70% of that has
Okay.
been already mentioned in the Transgender Protection Act 2019.
Okay.
So it is just they are. I mean, I would say they are just amplifying that the state
Okay.
government, which I think is good. Which I think is they are reassuring the Transgender Act through this policy, which I would say I'm very happy about. At the same time, they've also taken the equal opportunities policy. The central government, actually, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, in April, they actually released. I mean, in last year, I think in February,
Okay.
February, I think so, February or April, but last year they released a document called um, Transgender Protection, sorry, Equal Opportunities Act. Equal Opportunities Policy. The state
Okay.
central government has already, the Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment has already um, come up with a policy which is called Equal Opportunities Policy. This is about this is about complete eradication of discrimination at workplace, guaranteeing equal opportunities, guaranteeing safe environment for transgender people who are working in who will be working in corporates and all kind of government institutions and other places, of course. So I also see that some of those points found in the equal opportunities policy have also been included in this policy again, which I'm very happy about. But I would say, is there anything new? Maybe probably the education part in the schools is something new that I would welcome. Um, they say in the policy that the different committees will be formed. We are
Correct.
yet to see how those committees will be functioning. Yeah,
Ma'am, you mentioned that there's nothing new in this policy,
yeah,
which brings us back to this conversation around safety of transgender persons in India.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
importantly, because just at this as this policy was released, Samantha, a trans woman from Tenkasi, was brutally attacked. Even
yeah,
3 days after the attack, after the FIR was filed, nobody was arrested. Nobody is yet to be arrested. Do you think
yeah.
this policy fails to cover when it comes to safety of transgender persons in India, in Tamil Nadu?
I would absolutely say that, yes. There have been number of transgender women so far who have been murdered. I see that news every 2 months or once in 2 months or something like that. I continuously see it. Last year, a trans activist who was also one of the first entrepreneur, I mean, one of the first persons to create a very successful restaurant in Coimbatore, uh,
Okay.
she was murdered. Sangeeta was murdered, and yeah, and they found the perpetrator also who did it. But so far, I don't see any news in the media about how he was punished, how the accused has been prosecuted, how he has been punished, and all that. Also, in all the previous cases where a transgender person was murdered, I never ever saw one guy being, being persecuted, being investigated, or being punished by the court. I never read any of those news in the media. Either the media is only caring about the sensational news of murder and does not follow these news, or uh, there's definitely a lack of safety and security and protection in the state, which I believe is both. Both the media is one thing, the other is there's no important, there is still a lack of safety, there's still a lack of sensitized police officers, and there is a still lack of sensitization in the police about Transgender Protection Act, about Section 377, and all that. Yes.
Ma'am, as like safety, there are a lot of long-standing demands that has been kept from the transgender community to the state. You've written an
Yeah.
open letter to the CM, listing out all these critical omissions, as you call them. Why are these
Yeah.
demands emergency? Why should these demands be met the earliest?
When we talk about education, education is one of the most important empowering tools for the transgender community, especially for the young ones, because
Correct.
it guarantees dignity, respect, equality, and economy for these people. Once, even if they are chased out from their homes, if they could study in an institution and get a degree, that will
Correct.
definitely guarantee an opportunity and an employment for them, because a lot of corporate companies today are coming up with job opportunities, but when you don't have a seat, when all the seats are reserved only for men and women, and when a transgender person applies, their application is out and out completely rejected, not even considered. But the reservation will guarantee that a transgender person's seat in the education institutions, as well as a job in in the government institution or in private, is guaranteed. That
Correct.
way, I think it's important. But unfortunately, in the policy, I don't see any mention of reservation.
Horizontal
I was I
reservation.
was actually shocked. I would say I was actually shocked. Despite years of advocacy, last year, entire year, we have been often meeting the chief minister, the deputy chief minister, We have met the Ministry of Social Welfare, Mrs. Geeta Jeevan. We have met a number of officers regarding the policy and everything. Despite years of this advocacy and last year's meetings, the policy
Correct.
does not include reservation for transgender or intersex persons in education and employment. This is a major setback, especially since Tamil Nadu's own, Tamil Nadu is one of the pioneers, not even one of the pioneer, is the first state in the entire country to recognize transgender population. But now other states have gone ahead.
Can you give some examples which have tested well in other states, which can be a great example for the state?
Well, there are a number of examples. I mean, Kerala, I believe, when I first talked about transgender inclusion in the Kerala media, as well as in Mahatma Gandhi University in Kottayam, or in the Youth Commission in Kerala, and a number of institutions, I could see so much of transphobia then in 2001, 2, 3, and all those years. 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But now I see that it is a state that has empowered its community. So many transgender people are studying in University of Kerala, University of Calicut, and all that. But yet, of course, in Kerala also there's no reservation. But there is a huge campaign for transgender inclusion, and all the some of the most important actions when it comes to housing and employment and recognition has been given by the government. For example, there is a guy, I think his name is Adam or something. He is one of the pilots. He is the first pilot from the transgender community in Kerala.
Okay.
He has been granted 25 lakhs for his pilot training, and he has gone to
Okay.
South Africa to study it. Such things is happening, and in Karnataka, 1% reservation for transgender people is already on the floors. So
Right.
our neighbors are very, very advanced, but we are, most of the things are just in paper.
When we talk about transgender initiatives to uplift the transgender community, more often we see trans men being left out. This policy
Yes.
also leaves out trans men. Why is it critical to include trans men into these kind of initiatives?
I'm absolutely shocked that trans men are overlooked in this policy. Despite transgender men being representing in the Transgender Welfare Board, there are trans men, couple of them in the Transgender Welfare Board under the
Okay.
Ministry of Social Welfare. And I'm really shocked how the policy has a title and framed around transgender women only, with limited reference to transgender men. This invisibilizes their lived experiences, their needs, their rights, especially in areas of healthcare, documentation, and livelihood. So sad that the trans men have been not recognized. This, I believe, is ignorance from whoever has written this policy. It's pure ignorance on their part. They haven't done their homework. They haven't talked. Has ever called me. For example, I've been working with. I'm a national. I'm a southern representative. I'm a member of the National Transgender Council. I've never received a call from any of the officers from the Ministry of Social Welfare of Tamil Nadu on discussing about the policy, on recommendations about the policy. Never.
Ma'am, this comes back to an allegation which was made that even the committee members did not know about the policy that it's going to be released. How far do you think this is true? Did you know any inside information on this?
I think yes. I think the committee members were. I think it's not only ignorance; it is a lack of caring and understanding also about transgender issues. When this is what happens when you actually when people who are not at all sensitized are sitting in the office writing an important policy that addresses hundreds and thousands of people's lives, protection, safety, equal opportunities, and this sort of stupidity from the officers is really condemnable. And Chief Minister and the Minister of Social Welfare along with other officers releasing this policy. I'm shocked that this is happening because it omits trans men, it omits reservation, and it's basically whatever is already there in the Transgender Protection Act and the equal policy, equal opportunities policy, that is reflected here with one or two things. About talking about the reservations, they have been fighting in the court, and already we have the Madras High Court and other courts recommending the Tamil Nadu government that reservation must be provided. Apart from that, the 2014 Supreme Court judgment, Nalsa versus Union of India case, that also recommends that transgender people should be provided with reservation in jobs and education. But Karnataka is only following. Tamil Nadu is yet to follow, and I'm shocked because
We,
Tamil Nadu was a pioneer in so many aspects, and now I'm so sorry to see the state of our politics.
we could clearly understand the frustration and the pain behind your words, ma'am. What will happen going forward? Do you plan on going and talking to the government, meeting the officials again? Do you plan on raising the issues, the unmet demands? You obviously had written an open letter to the CM. What next will
Yeah.
happen?
Well, I would also write a letter to the Minister of Social Justice. I will personally, I think we activists, all of us, will definitely come together with them for a meeting, and we are discussing about what to do next. Definitely there'll be very important, powerful actions from our side, and we will continue to fight for reservation. That is 100% true. We were so disappointed that this policy did not mention about reservation, and we're actually shocked that transgender men have been overlooked in this policy. So that gives us a clear understanding that there is no clear understanding within the officers sitting and writing this policy. So the government, its departments, its ministers, its MLAs, its everybody, department officers, what they now need, including the police officials, is a complete compassion, empathy, and an understanding about transgender persons' lives, because we are not the others and we cannot be erased, of course. We belong to this land. We have been existing thousands and thousands of years. Even before any other literature mentioned it, Tolkappiyam has mentioned about it. Our former Chief Minister, Mr. Karunanidhi, Kalingar Karunanidhi sir, has recognized our rights, our identity, is given a beautiful name, the Tirunangai, for all of us, which actually means respectable women. Nowhere in the world, no other language has this kind of a recognition, because it's our rich culture, rich language that recognizes us. But however, the state of our rights is now in a big question. So I will also try to meet the the deputy chief minister, as well as the minister of social welfare, Mrs. Geeta Jeevan, and certainly I'll try to meet our chief minister as well.
That's a really positive note, ma'am. We were just talking about people in power being compassionate and being, really having empathy towards people in the trans community. As you know, elections are around the corner in Tamil Nadu, and
Yeah.
trans women have been, empowering themselves across various industries, and politics is also one. We have a lot of flag bearers like Apsara Reddy and even Ganga Nayak who've already made their mark. How important it is, to have a political representation from the trans community. Why do you think it's important? And if there is a chance, would we have a chance to see you in politics as well?
Well, I've been having invitations from different parties and all that, but I've been in a dilemma to join or not to join, because how the state of politics and how women are actually, how women are respected in politics is really pathetic. So of course, that doesn't mean we cannot be in politics. We have to be. And transgender people, I'm very happy about Apsara Reddy. I'm also happy about Ria, who is in DMK, Ganga Naik, who is in DMK. But they have to, I also insist that being a trans woman representing the community is absolutely fine. But you
Right.
have to have influence when it comes to the policy and all that. Your representation, you're representing us. So you should have influence with the Minister of Social Welfare and the people who have written this policy. Unfortunately, why that didn't happen, I don't know. That is why more and more people should join politics, not just the DMK, but like Apsara ADMK and in
Right.
TVK with Vijay's party, and also in other lots of other parties, of course, including the BJP and the Congress, of course. All of our people should be in politics, and I don't see it very far that someday soon we will have a trans MLA, transgender MLA, and also somebody representing the transgender community in the parliament, of course. My only wish is that they don't go corrupt.
That's a very important note, a beautiful,
Yes,
heartwarming note to have in this discussion. We've
yes,
reached the end of the discussion. I just want to conclude with one important question. What,
yeah.
according to you, which initiative needs immediate attention from this policy? What long standing issue needs to be immediately met?
I think one long-standing issue is definitely the reservation. Reservation is a long-standing issue. I know for a fact that there are so many trans women who are waiting to be enlisted as in the police department. There are so many transgender persons who are also applying for different government jobs and waiting for, there is Miss Gargi, who is a medical student. I mean, she completed her a doctorate. I mean, she is, of course, a doctor, MBBS doctor, in a reputed institution, but she is facing so much of discrimination in the institution. The reservation authenticates that transgender people's right to education. So, in so many ways, our community, uh, it's almost 10 years, you see, 10 years since the Supreme Court recognition, 10 years since the Supreme Court's recommendation for reservation. But till today, the Tamil Nadu government hasn't done it. And our people are being empowered. That is also because of the Tamil Nadu's various empowering activities and inclusion and all that. But the reservation will be the most important work of the government, and I hope that is done soon.
With that hope, we can, yeah, end this discussion. Just 2 months ago, during Pride Month, we were all elated, joyfully celebrating the trans community, the LGBTQ community. I think the trans rights, LGBTQ rights should, go beyond the Pride Month celebration, go beyond a calendar event, and should be talked all around the year and every time that needs to be talked. So we're
Yeah.
at the end of the question. Thank you so much for joining us and letting us your beautiful insights. It was really amazing talking to you. Thank you, viewers. For more such discussion and analysis, please watch this federal and join with us. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Raghavi, and thank you everyone for watching this and supporting us. I hope you all support our community. Thank you very much. Thank you, Raghavi. Thank you, the
Thank you.
Federal.